Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'll be talking about my first ever game jam, and well, more specifically, I'm going to be talking about how I improved my game from the first ever game jam. And it wasn't very, it didn't come out that great. It wasn't as good as I expected, but we're going to be going through the process of how I polished my game so it came into, how I originally wanted it to be. So the game jam I participated in was the Trijam 172. And the main goal of this game jam is to make a game in under 3 hours. Kind of a difficult task. It requires a lot of preparation. Basically, that's kind of the main goal for this game jam. And I did some preparation, but definitely not enough, apparently. And so the theme for this game jam was off the shelf. And how I made my game related to that theme was I took it literally off the shelf, where it means you can buy products from markets or supermarkets, grocery stores, all that kind of stuff. So the idea of my game is that I wanted to make a sort of very simple game. Obviously it has to be simple in order to meet the requirements of a game in under 3 hours. And I decided to make a sort of math game where you have to choose the right items in order to match the budget you have, and which is randomized. And it was there was definitely some problems along the way, that's for sure. But right now let's talk about the process of what I'm doing. So as you can see, I was kind of understanding what was going on with my code. I didn't get a chance to comment anything. I didn't get a chance to really organize anything when making this game in under 3 hours. So after not looking at this game for 2 weeks, you can imagine that I was looking at pretty much alien language. I don't know what I was looking at, basically. And so it was just a matter of having to read my code again, figure out what the hell sort of, I don't know, black magic I did to make this game work. But eventually, I started commenting on my code and just organizing some of the code, making sure, I actually understand it when I somehow look at this atrocity again. I don't know, and like sometime in the future. I don't want to really specify. But yeah, I was mostly just commenting, understanding the code, and deciphering these hieroglyphics that were in my screen. But eventually I somewhat understood what I wrote down. Yeah, it's a very awful process, not gonna lie. So one of the big problems with this game originally was it was kind of broken, where my original submission, there's a chance that you can get items where the prices are higher than the budget. Even if you just had one item that you had to choose, that item could be higher price than the budget that was given to you. So it ended up being a game-breaking bug, and you couldn't really do much. You had to actually just restart the whole browser. So clearly that's not very, how would you say it? Not really good gameplay, I think people would like to simply restart it in the game instead of, restarting their entire computer and perhaps not notifying their internet provider that they have to restart their internet in order to restart my game. But anyways, I digress, and it took a long time to figure out what was wrong with, why was this game breaking bug occurring? Why were the prices of the items not matching the budget? And then finally, after growing so many gray hairs, it took so long to figure out that it was very, very simple problem. And it was just that I used a function again where I shouldn't have used a function, which was get random price. I was calling that function again to make the prices when it should have been a variable that was already made. So that's why the budget and the prices weren't matching up. Who knew it would be that simple, right? That's coding in a nutshell, I guess. Finally, after growing so many gray hairs, it took so long to figure out that it was very, very simple problem. And it was just that I used a function again where I shouldn't have used a function, which was get random price. I was calling that function again to make the prices when it should have been a variable that was already made. So that's why the budget and the prices weren't matching up. Who knew it would be that simple, right? That's coding in a nutshell, I guess. But enough about the problems of coding and all the simple screw-ups that you can do that could potentially make you lose your job, and eventually you'll become homeless and then die alone. Let's take a look at what we're doing here. And so we're kind of just correcting the interface, but also why am I saying we? I was jumping around the interface and the coding. Wasn't really focusing on one task. That's a kind of a problem I kind of realized for myself. If it's not something too urgent, I kind of jump around tasks, and I don't really focus on one. But at the end of the day, I do get the job done. But it would be better if I focused on one thing at a time. But anyways, now we're fixing the interface. It was kind of ugly, not gonna lie. It was not a good looking game. It was not what I originally intended it to be. Although one of the main things of why it's ugly is because of the background. I could not figure out for the life of me of how you made the tiled sprites. There was like a big square originally, but eventually I managed to find it easily. Since I wasn't under pressure, I was able to find the solution real quick. I literally just looked at an object that had my background, and there was the solution. It was just one little thing. I couldn't find it in my speedrun video, if you want to check that out. But anyways, enough about the background. So we got all that done. Well, now it's just some organizing and just making the game looking a little nicer, because it was not as good as I wanted it to be. But it's a game under 3 hours, so what do you expect, right? It was also my first game jam, and it's kind of interesting that this was my first game jam, something that is a little challenging, having to make a game in under 3 hours. And now we're moving on to making different canvases, which is basically those who aren't familiar with Unity, it's just different menus that I'm creating. It's something built into Unity. This is how you get all your menus, and having to switch between interfaces, all that good stuff. But anyways, yeah, I was just making more canvases to making it look more like an actual game, instead of something that was kind of looks like your average mobile game. So now it's just polishing the game, although some of the code could have used some polishing. The more I think about it after I finished this product up, but I'll make sure to polish code for like big projects. That's definitely more important than, you know, something kind of this small. But I guess it's kind of a bad habit now that I'm saying that. Probably shouldn't be saying that. But yeah, no, I'll definitely try to make my code polished. Just, you know, as long as I'm not too under pressure, like making a game in under 3 hours. And now let's move on to my good old friend, the Unity Store. And what better way to use the Unity Store than to go in the free assets category? Well, we're just going to be, you know, getting the music and the sound effects, the SFX, and just getting more life into this game, making sure, you know, it looks like an actual game. All the music and sound effects are in, although you can't really hear it in this video, but you know, trust me, they're there, and you'll be able to look at it. I'll probably put in the description. I'll try to remember that. So now we're setting up the page on my itch.io website and updating the game so everything is up to date. It's not the garbage that was uploaded to the Game Jam, although honestly this game would have been just fine if it wasn't for that one little bug that made the wrong prices and messed up the entire game. But anyways, and now we just need to update the game on itch.io, make sure all the description is there of what I changed, all that fun stuff. And of course, this has happened before, actually just one time before, which was that Unity wasn't properly importing the files, or I guess exporting the files in order to import the files into itch.io. And you know, it was just a very small thing. I should have done it in a zip file instead of just a WinRAR file. Yeah, small difference. I don't know why itch.io is kind of picky about that. But yeah, you want to do the zip WinRAR file, not just the WinRAR file, because otherwise itch.io will just give you the middle finger. And now we're gonna add some screenshots to make sure that, you know, people know what godforsaken game they're getting themselves into, and you know, hopefully they'll have a little bit of a fun time. You know, the gameplay is kind of like 1 minute, but I hope that they enjoyed it. And for those of you watching, I hope you enjoy it at least. I mean, it's not my best work, but it's game in under 3 hours, so I mean, enjoy it while you can, I guess. But anyways, yeah, that was the whole process of going through this whole game making of the Trijam number 172, a game made under 3 hours. Oh, and if you're curious about the place I got, you don't need to know, okay? Just know that that's not a necessary detail, all right? Let's just say I was in the lower placement. You know, there was 55 entries. I was pretty kind of low, but you know what? It's all right. You know, no grudges against anyone except, you know, top people. But that's besides the point. But anyways, yeah, that's all I have to talk about for my game. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see something again, another Game Jam video soon.